Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you are enjoying this lovely day. I was telling someone the nice thing about being assigned to a school in Georgia is I can relate to where you are and what kind of weather you're having. Because I've been in schools where in other states and I haven't got a clue what's going on with them. I like being in a school and where I live. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. All right. We are going to wait for a few more people to come in, but you can take out your worksheet that we started on yesterday. And I'm going to continue going over that with you. Got a couple of people who. All righty. I got mine pulled up. My computer has been acting up today, not cooperating at all. All right. Got everybody. Cool. Okie dokie. Got mine pulled up. All right, it's good afternoon, those of you who just joined. We're going to go over the worksheets. So again, you want to go to Canvas. We're going to do the one on top, the cell biology and macromolecules. We started that yesterday and we got as far as question 4. And um, so we'll pick up from there. All right, so I'm not just going over the answers. I'm going to try to do a little background information as well. So, because this is review, your test is next week. Most of you have exam. Are all your exams in the morning, or do you have some in the afternoon? I don't know whether I'm going to see you or not. I'm going to assume, because I know science is not in the morning. Okay, I think so too. I know yours is on Thursday and it's in the morning, but I don't know if you have time to get back. Might not, like 12:20. You might not get back to have class in the afternoon. So I'm not. Uh, okay. All right. So I probably will not see you then. From what I can tell, so do you all have any on Monday and Wednesday? I know your test, the high school tests are science and social studies are like the Wednesday and Thursday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So am I going to see you on Monday, do you think? I'm trying to say if this lasts, we have to get it all in today. But just in case, I'm going to go through this, but what I want you, Okay, only biology. So I will see you on Monday and Wednesday. So that gives us some more time. All right, but thank you, Kendall. We Again, I want you to remember that all of the units have study guides at the end. So after I go through these, I'll probably go back and look at some other ones. There's 2 or 3 that we've already done that we did for a grade. So make sure you just pull those up and review those. It's a lot of stuff. I don't write the test, so I can't give you questions and tell you exactly what to study. All I can do is tell you that in my experience, if you study your vocabulary, and there's a lot of vocabulary, but if you understand what the question is asking you, you can pretty much guess with an educated mind on what the answer to the question will be. Okay. All right. That being said, let's start with number 5. All right. What is the role of the mitochondria in maintaining homeostasis? So yesterday we talked about the fact that homeostasis means balance or stability. And so um, we need to know what is a mitochondria is one of the organelles inside the cell. So again, vocabulary. When you see the word mitochondria, you're going like, what is that? Where would I find the mitochondria? So you need to know that it is one of the organelles inside a cell. What is its job? So its job is to provide energy for everything, the cell, the organism. Um, So you want to say that its job is to produce energy in the form of ATP. So you also need to remember that ATP is the energy molecule. Okay, it is the energy molecule. So again, a lot of vocabulary that you have to keep in mind, right? It is the energy molecule. Okay. All right. Which process is directly involved in conversion of light energy into chemical energy? Now it says process. Okay, so the process that takes in the sunlight energy and allows us to be able to even use all of these chemicals. Um, so which one would it be? All right, I see B. All right, photosynthesis. And I was supposed to, when this is over, I won't stop right now to do it, but I'm going to make sure that we look at, I think I have a slide that's already done on my canvas, where we look at photosynthesis and respiration as they are related to each other. It is one equation forward, and you just have to know forwards and backwards and know which way is photosynthesis and which way is respiration. All right, so number 6 is respiration. How do lipids function in cellular respiration, cellular process? So again, lipid is a macromolecule, so it would be on your chart. Another word for lipids is fats. So what do fats do? Now, mind you, all of these things provide energy. So that would, where am I? That would not be its main function. So if you said energy, that it wouldn't be entirely wrong, but the question would be asking you about its main function. And its main function, as you correctly said, is they form structural components in the cell membrane. So again, when I pull up, so when you're studying, one of the things that we looked at was the cell membrane, and it had a bilipid layer. So that means it's got lipids. 2 layers of this lipid molecule are in your cell membrane, and they are there to help with the transport process. Okay, so number 7 is A. Number 8. What is the primary function of the Golgi apparatus in the cell? And here again, the Golgi apparatus is an organelle inside the cell. So what does it do? What does it do? It's like the North Pole. They modify, sort, package proteins and lipids. So A is the correct answer for that. So it is a distribution center. Okay, another way of thinking about that is like a distribution center. All the raw materials go there. They're put together in such a way that the other parts can use it, and then they're sent on their way. They're like UPS. Or what's the other one? Amazon. All right, which process involves the conversion of glucose into ATP? All right, there are different types of respiration, and you want the one that involves oxygen. And so if it involves oxygen, which one would that be? Mine is scrambled. And you have to tell me because my answers are scrambled, so my letters are not the same as the ones that I'm looking at on the paper. All right, A, aerobic. Aerobic means that oxygen is involved. The other one is anaerobic. That means in the absence of oxygen. That process can lead to fermentation or lactic acid synthesis. Okay. All righty. Next one. All right. Good afternoon, Lakila. We are on the handout that says cell biology and macromolecule quiz. We're reviewing. All right. And if you have any questions about any of these, just stop me, type a question in the chat, say, I don't understand it. Could you really explain that? Because these need to be clear to you. All righty. Number 10. How does the structure of DNA facilitate its replication? All right, so now you need to remember what a DNA molecule looks like and think about how its structure helps it do what it does. Okay. Okay, Kendall says it's B, and that is correct. It is a double helix, and the double helix allows it to serve as a template. And what that means is it allows it to open up and allows things to line up on it. So a template is something that you can do other things on. So it opens up so that we can copy the information. Remember, the DNA never leaves the nucleus. It sends its information as a copy, a carbon copy, so to speak, goes out, goes to the ribosomes translate the carbon copy, and then the translation is transcribed into making proteins. So that's the process. DNA gives information, RNA copies the information, the ribosomes translate the information. All right, the role of the lysosome. The lysosome is another structure inside the cell. What does it do? Another name for the lysosome is a suicide sac. All right. It is C, to digest and recycle cellular waste. That is its job. There are enzymes inside the lysosome that help break down materials that need to be broken down, and then Vacuoles, waste products are formed and they move over to the cell and they spit them out. All right, macromolecule is which macromolecule is primarily involved in catalyzing biochemical reactions? Lots of words there. And this is tricky because what you're looking for, the macromolecule that you're looking for is an enzyme. And then you have to say, well, what is it? Which one of these macromolecules is an enzyme? An enzyme is what type of macromolecule? So you might make a note to yourself about that. So the question is really asking you, what's an enzyme? It's not lipid. An enzyme is a protein. An enzyme is a protein. Okay. So we have different kinds of proteins. So you got to remember that. Remember our steroids and hormones, they're made of proteins as well. But enzymes are also proteins, and their job is to make chemical reactions happen. Okay. Um, a catalyst is something that is necessary for a reaction to happen, but it doesn't become part of the product. Okay, it's like an instigator. So it is a protein. All right, the next one. What is the significance of the cell membrane selective permeability? All right, so selectively permeable. And again, understanding what all these words means helps you to decipher what does that mean. So semi-permeable or selectively permeable, I tell you, you need to think of a cell membrane like your screen on your window. And if you were to throw a bunch of stuff at the screen, only the little tiny particles, maybe the water will get through. The rest of the stuff will stay outside the screen because they're too big to get in. So it selects what it wants to let in. So with that in mind, what would you say the answer is? Uh, D, yes. It regulates the movement of substances in and out of the cell. And this is where we have active transport and passive transport. It allows certain things to flow easily in if it's passive. If it's too big, but the cell wants it to come in or out, it has the active transport process. All right, 14. How do nucleic acids contribute to cellular respiration? Nucleic acids are part of your DNA. So what would they have to do with the cellular process? What does the DNA do? Okay, it's going to be D. They store and transmit genetic information. All right, and so what that is, it means that they're going to and I guess my paper has the answers in all different places because I think it scrambled it. What was I gonna say? Just remember the DNA is in charge. It's like the big boss. It has the information that is necessary for anything to happen in the cell. Okay, it has the directions on what to do, how to do, and when to do it. All right, what is the role of the endoplasmic reticulum in a cell? All right, this is another cell structure. And A is correct, to synthesize and transport proteins and lipids. The endoplasmic reticulum is like a highway system. And so things kind of just travel through it. The endoplasmic reticulum also, you have two types of endoplasmic reticulum. They call smooth and rough. The smooth don't have any dots on it. The rough ones do have the dots, and the dots are actually the ribosomes. Okay, so the ribosomes sit, there are some free floating ribosomes, but most of the time the ribosomes sit on the endoplasmic reticulum. Also remember that that might be abbreviated ER. All right, which process is responsible for synthesis of RNA and DNA from a DNA template? So I mentioned this earlier. So it's like, remember there's two different, think of it as a foreign language. So the DNA is one language and the RNA has to do something to get that information, and it gets it to the ribosome, who takes that information and translates it. So transcription is what happens in the DNA. Translation is what happens in the RNA. Okay, so the answer to this one is B, transcription. Okay, but you need to know both. These are the rest of my questions. Alrighty. How does meiosis contribute to genetic diversity? Can I repeat the difference? Yes. Okay. Transcription. What transcription is when the RNA lines up on top of the DNA template that we talked about, and actually they do the matching pair information, but that is just copying the DNA's information. So that's what we call transcription, is just copying the information. Then it has to go back to the RNA, and the RNA turns around and translates what the DNA's instructions are. Okay, so the transcription is making a copy of the DNA. Translation is reading back, so to speak, what the DNA is telling us to do. That makes sense? Okay. All righty. Number 17. So remember, with cell division, we have mitosis and meiosis. Thing you have to remember about meiosis is meiosis only happens in the sex cells. Mitosis happens in all the body cells. Meiosis only happens in the sex cells. Your the gametes, sperm and egg, undergo. So whereas mitosis is making exact copies, what meiosis is doing something else. It's going to let's see, by allowing crossover and independent assortment. And what that means is, this is where you get the fact that we are not clones of our parents. Because of crossing over and independent assortment, you have the chance of getting different genes expressed. Okay, so D is the answer here, by allowing crossing over. So if we go back and look at the process of meiosis, you remember that part of the chromosome can switch places when they line up. That's your crossing over. Independent assortment means that because of we're an egg cell, while the 4 cells are produced, we might only get one of the 4 cells that is produced. So the chances of getting a particular set of genes is random. Okay, so that's what that is saying. And we can go back and look at that again too if you need to. Okay, that was 17. 18. What is the primary function of the ribosome in the cell? And I think we've done that already. That's kind of a repeat question. It's protein synthesis. Which process involves the conversion of RNA into a protein? And then that's kind of a repeat question too. Translation, we just talked about that. Translation. All right, because again, once it is translated, so remember it's transcribed in the nucleus with the DNA. It's translated, and once it is translated, the translation says make this protein. Okay, that's the whole function of the ribosome, is to tell it what protein to make. Okay. All right, and the last one on this, how does the process of photosynthesis contribute to the flow of energy in the cells? And yes, it's A, by converting light energy into chemical energy. We can't do that. We need the plants to do that. Okay, we can stand out in the sun all day long and it's not going to do a thing for us. We need the light energy to be converted to in the plant, and then we get that energy converted to glucose, and then the glucose is converted to energy that we can use. Okay. Alrighty. So that's the end of that worksheet. So we've done all three that I have over there. I'm going to pull up another one, but in the meantime, if you have something else that you need to work on, do that. And let me pull up one of the other ones. I got it. That's what I wanted, the phone number. Okay, let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. All right, I tell you what, is there a particular, we have all the modules. Is there a particular module that you want me to go over? So we just did macromolecule review. So again, if you, um, and everybody should have of works, because I believe we did this one in particular. So make sure that you go through and look at these. And I just strongly recommend again that you go to the end of each molecule, pull up the review sheet, and that one is the first unit, cell transport, cell transport. Let's look at that one. I remember we did this one too, because it has pictures. But just go through, pull these up, and if you have a particular question, see, this is the one where you filled in all the functions of the cells and their structures. Prokaryotes, those are the cells that do not have a nucleus. Eukaryotes have a nucleus. Prokaryotes, they have organelles. They're just not, they just don't have a membrane-bound nucleus. So everything is kind of scattered throughout the cell. That's the difference between those two. But the thing that they have in common is they both have nuclear material and they have organelles. They're just different. There's a membrane around things with eukaryotes. There's a nucleus in the middle surrounded by a membrane. Plants and animals, they have the same organelles, except plants have so in the middle, you would have everything except plants have chloroplasts and cell walls. Okay, and that's what gives plants their structure. Um, Water pressure inside a plant cell is called turgor. So when your plants wilt, it's because they don't have enough turgor pressure inside. And so once the water gets in there, they stand back up nice and pretty because of turgor pressure. But they have all of the same cells. Animal cells, they have a centriole, and that's important during mitosis and meiosis. What else do animal cells have? like I said, there's so much information off the top of my head, but I'm gonna pull that picture up for you so we can have a good Venn diagram. But again, look at the difference between passive transport and active transport. And this one, that red line in the middle is what they call, it's pretending to be a semi-permeable membrane. So again, think of it like a screen and how the molecules are passing back and forth. And they like this picture. The difference between these two beakers is that the first beaker is showing that the molecules, um, there are more molecules on the right side than on the left side. You have to remember that the rule is things move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So because there are more molecules on the right and less on the left side, they're going to want to move to the molecules are going to want to move to the left. But what we're also looking at in this picture is that because there are a lot of molecules on the right, there's less water. Okay, the molecules are taking up more space than the water. So the water is going to go from high to low. And so there's low on the right side. So that's why the second beaker looks like the water level has gone down, because the water went from area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So that's osmosis. So you have to know that osmosis, which is what the question is about, osmosis is the movement of water. Diffusion is the movement of everything, but specifically osmosis is the diffusion of water. And the rule for diffusion is things move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. All right, then you have to remember these words: hypertonic, hypotonic, isotonic. And that's the end of that work. But you did this worksheet, so go back through your notes and find that. All right. Okay, back over here. Let me see if it'll just take me back. Yay. Okay. Stop jumping. Cell energy review. Let's look at that. And I'm gonna do as many as I can as time allows. All right. This is what do they have? Yes, and we did this page too. All right, here we go. Here's your equations for photosynthesis and respiration. So the top one, the process, because it starts with sugar. C6H12O6 is glucose. Glucose plus oxygen is respiration. We inhale the oxygen to combine with the glucose that's in our cells. And in the process, it breaks it down into water, carbon, carbon dioxide, and the energy molecule, which is why we really need to do this, because we really want to produce those 36 ATP. So the equation summarizes respiration. The process is aerobic because it requires oxygen. And this is happening in the mitochondria. And reactants on a chemical equation, next year, I guess you all will take chemistry. The reactants on one side are on the left side. Products are on the right side. Okay, the arrow is like an equal sign, but except it means yields. It's not equals, it yields. All right, so when glucose plus oxygen combine, all the chemicals rearrange and it yields water and carbon dioxide. In chemistry, you'll learn that there's a balance. There's nothing lost, nothing gained. There's a rule that you cannot create something from nothing. So all the molecules on the left side originated on the right side. They just changed places. It's like a word scramble. We just unscrambled the letters and made something else with them. Okay, so this is what those big numbers are. The big numbers, the sixes in this case, represent the fact that if we started with 6 carbons on the left, we have to have 6 carbons on the right. But I'm not going to stress that because that's chemistry, but I just wanted you to understand what those numbers were. So when you get to chemistry, you'll see this again, and then you will have to understand how to balance an equation. Um, I hope to be here next year. I don't know whether y'all do chemistry or not, but I can do chemistry. It's not my favorite subject, but I can. I'll do it for y'all because I like y'all. But because I'm not seeing that they offer it at Lighthouse this year. I'm not sure. All right, the second equation is photosynthesis. Now, again, I want you to see that it's the same elements. Okay, so when you see the glucose first, that's respiration. When you see water and carbon dioxide first, that's photosynthesis. But it's the same thing. Okay, again, the process here is photosynthesis. This is happening in the chloroplast. And the reactants this time are water and carbon dioxide. And the products are glucose and oxygen. Okay, and they do want you to know that that's what the relationship is. One equation is the reverse of the other. All right, you need to know ATP is a energy molecule. Um, you need to know the light reaction and dark reaction. I might pull that up and go back and look at that. And then we did those. All of these have to do with light and dark reaction. All right, so this is the diagram that actually shows that there's a relationship between the two. So the top one is a chloroplast. So that process is photosynthesis. If you follow the arrow, that would be carbon dioxide and water. The process down here at the bottom is respiration. ATP would have gone in that little star part, and what you wanted over here would have been carbon dioxide and water is given off. So, but notice the carbon dioxide and water that's given off is going back to the chloroplast for photosynthesis. So they are related. We exhale carbon dioxide and water vapor. So those are our waste products. All right. Like I said, if I see you on Monday, we'll spend some time, come back to that. I'm trying to just quickly, and again, as I go through these, you jot all of those. All right, that brings us to cell reproduction. Mm. You had a handout where you had the pictures for, so we didn't do this worksheet, but we had a different handout that you did where you looked at what's going on in all parts of during meiosis and mitosis. And we looked at the cell cycle. And so the handout that we did was different. I don't know if I can find it. Hold on. What did we do? Come on. Mm, mm, okay, I know what happened. Uh, when they upgraded for this semester, there was a whole bunch of stuff that appeared in the grade book, and he deleted everything that was from the others on mine anyway. You will probably be able to go back and find where you did the worksheets for meiosis and mitosis. For me, all of that has been deleted because it was duplicated. me go to the other class and see if it's there. Give me a minute. I might be able to find it. Hold on. You see if theirs is going to be good to know. Okay, nope, they didn't delete, just deleted it on yours. Okay, what do I want? Self-function, inspiration. When will we do meiosis and mitosis? I'm not gonna find it on here either. But you have a worksheet for meiosis and mitosis that you downloaded because you had to upload it to me for a grade. I think it's this. Nope. But you have this too. All right, so this would help. So if you did that activity, if you didn't do it, you should. But if you did this activity, that will help for meiosis and mitosis review. All right, sorry I can't find what I'm looking for, but yeah, wherever you find this, that's where you'll find the other worksheet that you had, because we did the website that had pictures of the cell. All right, not going to waste more time on that. Let me go back to yours. Time is it? Molecules, energy. Oh, I didn't want it to do that. It downloaded it. I don't want it downloaded. I wanted it to open. And you can't see that, so do it this way. Nope, it's still downloading. Oh, it's doing something. Nope. Okay, why is it doing that to me? It's downloading, so then I have to open it as a Word document, which means I have to change screens. All right. Let me see how I can get you to see what I see. I don't know why it worked for the other ones and not for this one. All right, so when you download that one, it should look like this. I think we covered a lot of this information. Codons. You need to remember that when they're reading for a protein, they read the bases in sets of 3, and every 3 bases is a codon for 1 amino acid. So again, vocabulary. Know the difference that there are 3 types of RNA. There's messenger RNA, transfer RNA, and ribosomal RNA. So know what those do and where you're going to find them. Let's see. It's not gonna. Is it gonna give the picture? Okay. Let me go in the unit, and now I got to go back. But again, see how these are set in sets of 3? Every 3 bases is going to be a codon, so you need to remember how to do that. Let me take a minute to, what are you looking at on your screen? Oh, yeah, it told me I just stopped sharing. Okay, that's because what I was looking at was on a different screen. Okay, let's take a minute to go back and look at that. Um, they might give you a wheel. All right, remember you all did your projects on genetic engineering. You need to know how, so we had both of these. We had the wheel and we had the chart. If you're using the wheel, you want to start in the middle and you work your way out. So you look at the code and you start with the letter that you want in the middle, and then you go to the ones in the next ring. So if you have an A, okay, so you start with the middle, then you go to the next ring, and then you go to the outer ring. And then by the time you're on the outer ring, it should identify which amino acid that you want on your chain. And remember, we took all of these amino acids and we placed them together to make a whole protein. If you're using the chart, the chart is easier to look at. So in your triplet, you want to say, for example, if G is the first one, you start on where it says first base and you say G. So that means it's going to be on your bottom row. If your second base is C, then it would be bottom row, second column. And then your third base, let's say, is U. So it would be bottom row, second column, and again back to your bottom row. And we would go take that U and run our finger all the way across to the bottom row, and it would be GCU, and it would be alanine. Okay, so that's how you use that chart. So don't give this chart a look in case you have to. They pull it up and you have to know how to use it. All right, if we did the same thing with the wheel and we said GCU, so we'd start with the G in that bottom corner, and then we would go to C on our second circle, and and we would look just the things that are right in that wedge in front of the second circle. And in this case, whatever, it doesn't matter what your third level letters is going to be, it's still going to be alanine. Okay, so you see how we came to the same amino acid no matter which one we used. All right, so while we're in here, um, mutations. I'm going to just stay right here and then let you all go in here and read this one over, and then because this is a lot of information here. Like I said, I can't even imagine what to tell you to study except to study everything. So just take the time to go through each and every one of those handouts and then pick out the things that you don't understand and go spend time with that. That's what you do. You look at all the handouts and then pick one that you don't understand, go back in the module, read that. If you still don't understand it, write it down, and Monday I'll try to explain anything that you still feel like you have questions about. Okay, so we got about, what, 15 minutes left. You spend time looking at what you think you need to look at. Also, they're doing progress reports next week. So if you owe me anything, you need to look at that. You need to work on that too. All right, so some of you, all of you, Socoria, Malia, here? Y'all need to turn in your taxonomy study guides. The taxonomy study guides, yes. Yes, the study guide, the review worksheets that we just did, and I just gave you all the answers to, so you just need to send it to me to show me that you were paying attention, but they should have answers. So, so yes, you don't have to send the picture page, just the 2 pages, um, the macromolecule page and the e e ecosystem page. Just send those 2 pages. Like I said, that tells me you were paying attention. So submit those two, and that's the last thing you had. Organelles homeostasis. I have to put those in. That's from Progress Learning. I have to, let me tell y'all, Progress Learning, I have to go in there, I have to search out what the test is, and then I have to search where your scores. They want us to use it, but I don't find it fun as far as finding your grades, and because it doesn't translate it right back. All it does when you say submit is tell me you submitted it. Then I have to go look for your score. So that's not fun. But I see 2 people have submitted, so I will make sure that I get those. Okay. Um, But as far as grades are concerned, yes, the majority, I've got 3 people. I've got Jacoby, Malia, and Jacob as far as the study guide, the review sheets that we just did. So everybody else needs to send me those, and that's the last thing. All right, so if you can handle that right now, appreciate you. And again, they are doing progress reports next week. So if you see anything else that you have a 0 for that you have time to make up, please do that so that you have lovely, lovely grades. All righty, Jacoby, right now you my high score. Good job, good job. All right, so for the rest of class, just work on that. Let me do attendance. Kayla is not here. I thought she was. Again, as you go through your study guides, please write down anything that you really, really want me to explain on Monday. I think that would be better than me trying to explain everything or telling you things that you already understand. There are videos in your YouTube playlist. Uh, you can spend time to go back and look at those. Okay, I will. Let me just do this attendance and I will look at that right away. I see you circled the answers. It came up. And folks, that's why it's just worth 10 points because basically I'm just wanting to give you points for doing it. So you're not really getting points for every answer on the worksheet. Just basically you're getting 5 points a worksheet for doing it. But Okay. All right. So if you submitted a worksheet of today's review sheets, I've checked them. Thank you so much. If you have not, you need to. Let me check these. Progress learning. Okay, I will look at that soon as. Thank you, Andrea. I will check on that. Got your glass. This one. Yes. Let's go straight. Cool. Okie dokie. Amazing. Just do that. Oh, okay. All right, folks. You all have a great weekend. Please study, but enjoy the weather, but please study. And see you on Monday.